Okay, welcome to a tutorial on Fusion 360. You're going to make a 3D rendered soft circuit. It is really not that difficult to do. Here's an example that I've done on my monster, and you can see I've used something called a canvas that I brought in a picture of my digital design, and I used it to create the sketches. You can see here's the sketches. I can turn off the canvas. You can see that's just a sketch of my design, and then I extruded the bodies and colored them out. So let's get started. So first you're going to click Insert and Canvas, and you're going to go to your computer, and you should have gotten a screenshot of your design. Here's one of mine, but I didn't want all this other stuff, so I did a closer up one of just the digital design. I'm going to ignore everything else. Go ahead and open that, and then click on the workspace on the bottom. You'll notice click the top, and I'm going to grab the scale tool, which is the quarter circle that I'm grabbing there. I'm just going to make it this size. All right. Click. You can obviously rotate it and change the positioning, but go ahead and click OK. Then you're going to click on the sketch button. We're going to click on the work plane that where you put the canvas on, and all our sketch tools come up. You can see there's lines and circles, and I really only use the line tool and the arc tool to kind of make curves. I did use the circle tool a little bit and the rectangle tool. You can play around with all the other tools, but it really was just lines and arcs, and I used the trim tool a few times to trim parts off. So I'm just going to start real quick, create some lines for this part right here. Okay, then I use the trim tool to trim off this little bit. If you ever don't need to use the line tool anymore, just push the escape button or click a new tool. There's the arc tool. Click 2 points and then you create the curvature. I found that a really good tool to use here on all these curves. Making sure that you're creating closed shapes, because in order to you definitely want to make sure that you're creating shapes that are closed so that you're connecting the points. The lines are actually creating individual shapes. I'm using the circle tool, the rectangle tool. I use the rectangle tool and the fillet tool to create that. And now if you look, finish the sketch, kind of look back at it, you can see I can highlight all the different parts and get in a little closer. My mouth, my teeth, all the parts are closed, and that means we can extrude them. Alright, so at this point you can turn off your canvas and see your sketch, and the individual shapes are highlighted, and I can click on them and I can use the extrusion tool on them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do them separately. So I'm going to click these 3 parts, or sorry, 4 parts, and I'm going to click the extrude button. If you hold shift, you can select multiple bodies. I'm going to make them come up 5 millimeters, and I'm going to make sure it's on new body. I want all the parts to be their own bodies. You can see here I've got 4 bodies. Go ahead and rename them to keep it organized. I'm going to one thing is it automatically turns off your sketch when you extrude, so you'll have to turn your sketch back on. Start extruding the rest of the sketches into bodies. I made the main body 4 millimeters, and then things that I wanted to be on top so they looked like they were felt pieces on top, I made them 5 or 5.5 or even 6. Getting close. Hold shift to select more than one body, and make sure you're creating new bodies with every single extrude so that each shape is its own body. Do the eyes, scroll in, hold shift, click extrude, and I'm going to have them even a little higher, so I put them at 6. Okay, one of the things I just noticed that my 2 LEDs are different sizes, and that really bugs me. So one thing you can do to fix things, if you double click on your sketch down here, it takes you back into the sketch. You can adjust or change um, the sketches in many different ways, just using the handles here. And then when I click Finish Sketch, it corrects all the problems and re-extrudes, and there it is. Okay, now we can go to Modify Appearance, and this is how we're going to change the color of the different parts. So there's the Appearance dialog box, and you can see there's only one material. So we're going to go down to Fabric. Oh, actually, we're going to type in Fabric here, and we're going to search. We're going to look for Downloadable. And this little download button needs to be clicked for all these color fabrics. You won't have them, so click. Now the only color we have is this gray color, so we're going to control click and click duplicate. And then each of these can be double clicked on, and you can change the color. And that way you can drag that colors that you want to the bodies and color them. You can also use the fabrics that are down here as well. I believe they're pre-colored, so there are some colors in there. And once those are done, you can go to the render, click on design and go to the render function. That'll open it up here with some better lighting. Turn off your origins, turn off your sketches, your canvas, and then you can just kind of screenshot this as part of your final display of your final product. There you go.